Hello, today's video is going to be a simple review of a very good scientific pocket calculator from Casio, the FX-83 GT Plus. This is a Japanese designed pocket calculator that I think has very good specifications and also is very affordable. To have a rough idea of how affordable it is, I think that something around $10 to $20, 10 to 20 euros is roughly a good value for it. Mostly it retails at less than $20 or euros, and I think it's a very good model for a couple of reasons. So first of all, it has a very good build quality, which is quite far from your typical cheap calculator, even scientific models that are made by, let's say, no-name brands from China. It's more affordable than certain calculators, at least in Europe, such as HP models or Texas Instrument ones, and the general build quality and durability of these calculators, I think it's almost legendary. So for most intents and purposes, this is a very good calculator. So first of all, well, we have a hard case cover that I think is very nice and holds quite well in time. It protects very well the calculator. It's not going to be able to slip. The way in which the backside is being designed is also very nice. As you can see, there is a small bump over here that actually covers the battery. It's not a compartment that can be easily accessed outside. You have to unscrew all these at all these points in order to access the internals and change the battery. The battery is, however, quite compact. It's a AAA battery. It's a single battery, and as far as I can tell, the computer, yes, it's mostly a computer in itself, although not a very advanced one, but still much more advanced than a typical pocket calculator you may still find on the market. The battery can hold for, I can tell, more than 3 or 4 years. Even 5 years is not out of common. So if you have a good battery that is not going to leak, I think it's just fantastic. And as you can see over here, I don't know if it's going to be obvious on camera. Let me see if I can focus it. Okay. The power rating is 0.00002 watts. So it's less than thousands of a watt, which means that the battery is going to be able to operate for a long time. All right. So let me now open the calculator and tell you more about it. You also have some interesting hints over here printed on the cover. How to change from the all-important math operation to the line or linear operation. I have to say that one of the most important features of this calculator is the natural display, as Casio likes to name it, which means that you can see mathematical expressions displayed normally. However, I have to say from the beginning that I'm not going to review this model on complex mathematical calculations, because I do not carry on these calculations regularly, and in general I use very sparsely math operations. What I'm mostly doing with it can be done with a typical pocket calculator. However, I like very much one of the features of this model, and I will tell immediately more about it. Alright, so if we have to turn on the computer, we just press on the on button. As you can see, there is a status indication on the top of the display that says D, which means that we are operating in degree mode. This is the standard mode. And even if there is no mention about the linear or the mathematical display, we are operating in the linear mode. What this means ultimately is that when we are making some calculations like this, we are going to have a typical display that is just about on any pocket calculator. I mentioned a very important feature. Well, this feature is the ability of showing both your mathematical expression and your result on the same screen. This is due to the fact that the display has a very large resolution, at least for a pocket calculator, and has two display lines. The first one holds your calculation and the second one holds your result. For me, it's very important to be able to use results from prior calculations. So when I'm making various other let's say operations, I can go very quickly from one calculation to another. And as you can see, I already receive a hint when those calculations are being done. The precision, the calculator's precision is around 12 digits. Of course, it can display information in results in the typical mathematical way, but it can also use exponential display. And I think this is very useful for certain calculus for engineers, scientists. For me, however, since I'm using only the basic functions, this is not going to matter. All right, so you can have a very pleasant display, and you can easily track what you did before. All right, another important aspect is the following. You can take the result of the last calculation. As you noticed, I press the answer button, and then I will do, I don't know, something like this. And you can see that it can easily display the result based on pure calculations. So it's a highly versatile computer, even in my case for a person that uses only rarely mathematical operations. However, I have to say that using a pocket calculator and having, I don't know, a phone or a computer or any other device still offers a bit more versatility when you have to make different assessments. Although I can clearly say that an application can be very good to show results and do more of these tasks. Sometimes just the ability of seeing the information in two places and not being bothered by switching from one application to another, from one device to another, is not such a hassle. Sometimes it's better to have a separate device that can show you information in a pleasant way, even if you may have to switch back and forth between, I don't know, your desktop or your laptop and your pocket calculator. But still, I find this to have certain advantages, and also the fact that you can have a keyboard that is very comfortable, and this is one of the major features of this pocket calculator, means that you also have a pleasant experience when using the device. The colored keys are also quite visible. There are more colors that are chosen for these pocket calculators. I think there is a darker shade, like you see over here, darker shade of gray, but it's also being presented in white or light gray. So there is a bit of variation that is possible when you're going to purchase such a device. All right, I mentioned the fact that right now we are in the linear mode. So if we are trying to make some fraction of decimal calculation, it's not going to operate any different than what we expect in most situations. However, even in this case, we have a hint of using the fraction calculation, but it's not being presented as you would do on a typical, let's say, math sheets, or when working with your typical classroom assessments. However, you can change the mode, and I mentioned that for a while, so let's go Shift Setup. MathIO, LineIO, degree, radians, grades, scientific. You have a lot of options. I'm not going to present them because I have used very sparingly. I have used them very sparingly, and I think there are much better places to find out about this pocket calculator specifications. However, I wanted to present to you this model because I think it's very good. Actually, it's not a single model. There are more models that are having roughly the same features. They have certain differences, but at least to me they are not as significant. However, let me show you the MathIO, which is going to present the expression as you would on a typical, let's say, mathematical assessment. All right, so I'm going to press 1. Result format, MathIO or LineIO, which means that first of all, the expression I'm going to write can have this display, or the mathematical expression and the results. In general, if you're going to use this mathematical representation for fractions, I think you would also go with results. So I'm going to press 1 again. As you can see, the status display changed in order to show math. Okay, I don't know if you see it clearly, but this is sorry. Okay, I think right now you can see it quite clearly. All right, so let me show you a simple example. I'm going to place, okay, all right, and right now, plus 5 plus, let me think a bit. Okay, I'm going to change mode again. And I also like very much in this case this cursor positioning device. I think this small joystick, you may consider it, or directional key control is very nice, and it's one of the features that I love very much in these advanced calculators, because you can quickly edit an expression compared with sorry, let's see, can I go back or not? Yes, I think that, okay, I should have press mode. I was expecting to find a back button that would get me into the screen that I used before, but that's not a problem. All right, so you can have this calculation and you can edit it very easily. One of my common gripes with pocket calculators is that if you made any mistake for one of the numbers you entered, most of the time you have to enter again the expression, and you have so many chances of going wrong that ultimately using a pocket calculator with the convenience of modern devices such as a computer leaves it totally behind, and it's ultimately pointless. On the other hand, these devices can be a very good assistance or help when you want to see the the data you are entering and the calculus in a different way. So I like them very much for this reason, and I think that they are a very good purchase for people that enjoy to have this experience. Probably the situation is going to be more difficult in the future when more models are going to appear, and perhaps there are going to be major advances in the computers as well. But for the moment, I still think that using those devices, those advanced pocket calculators, these scientific pocket calculators, is very nice, and it's an experience that you should have from time to time. It's also the pleasure of being able to operate in a different environment with a different way of thinking how you carry on certain tasks. So I think that it's ultimately a pleasant experience you can have from time to time, even for common situations. Like, I don't know, you want to determine a specific consumption, you want to manage your daily finances, and you don't want to use a computer, you want to do it differently. I think that this experience still has a lot of charm to it. All right. Or if you want to understand or let's say check something else. And right now, if I'm going to press the enter key, or actually the calculus key, yes, you can see the result being presented. I'm pretty sure that you have understood up until now that my calculus could not result in a fractional value, but I can edit very easily this one, and I'm pretty sure that right now it's going to result in a fractional value as expected. It's very nice because it can operate in such a way that you can have a lot of fun with different mathematical calculations. And if you enjoy these kind of assessments, then you can have a highly pleasant experience. All right. There are other major features that this pocket calculator has, and I will present some of them in brief. Besides the obvious indication you have on keys for trigonometry functions, and also for exponential calculus, which again I think is a very nice capability. I'm just going to think about some way to show you a bit of its capability. Let me see. Okay, probably I should have done a different calculus to show you what could be achieved. Let me think for a bit. You can also calculate factorials. Percentage calculus are also very nice, which is actually one of the common gripes I have with typical pocket calculators, because you have to think a lot about how the operation is being carried out. In this case, it's actually entirely straightforward. So if I'm going to do something like this, no, okay, and you can also do it in the, let's say, modern way of considering. Let's see if I can handle it as I think. Okay, so if you see quite closely, I have made the calculus first as a typical pocket calculator would make it look, and then using brackets, which is also another highly important function when you're carrying on important calculations, to make it in a human readable and very easy or friendly way. You can make a percentage calculus, and I think that it's just wonderful that you can have so modern such a modern pocket calculator that can really help you better understand how you make some operations, some assessments, and it shows it in such a nice way. For some, it's a given that you have such a capability with a modern calculator, whether we are talking about a calculator application on your smartphone or on your laptop, desktop PC. However, for pocket calculators, this is simply wonderful, and especially when you're thinking about something and you want to at least have the experience of doing it in a different way, for nostalgia purposes, but also for practical reasons of not being entirely tied up to a device that is so commonly used throughout the day, and probably you want to have a different experience, then yes, a pocket calculator like this is a pleasure to use. All right. So what else I should be showing? I mentioned the fact that this calculator has quite important abilities, and in my opinion, one of the most important one is the statistical calculus. This is not available for many models. Of course, Casio and other manufacturers release such pocket calculators having this capability. However, I have to say that on a typical simple pocket calculator, doing any sort of statistical calculus is out of discussion. Sometimes having this simplicity is still something that you may enjoy, especially since not, for instance, all smartphone applications, or in general the smartphone application suite doesn't include or is not quite obvious in how it uses for instance, spreadsheet calculations. Although I'm pretty sure this is going to be even less of an issue as we move further, because the smartphone and the laptop are going to have so many capabilities that ultimately a pocket calculator is very easy to be simply blown away by such features. As you can see over here, other samples of showing results, and you can have a pleasant experience of using this computer. There is no doubt about it. The fraction calculations I have presented a bit. Okay. Calculation history, yes, I think this is one of the most important feature you're going to have. Memory, yes, I haven't mentioned too much about memory. It's a standard feature on just about any pocket calculator. I assume that you can use it quite easily for a lot of tasks. Function calculations, yes, I think this is important. Let me see if I can show you something in particular. Calculating a square root, for instance, is very easy since you have such a display. So, for instance, let me show you. Which is obviously the square root of 9 is 3 multiplied by 3 equals 9. I'm not showing you complex calculations, but I hope you enjoy the way in which the pocket calculator is showing them, and I think that this is very important. Factorials, yes, it's quite advanced for me. Statistical calculations, yes, you can do a lot of these calculations. I think that what is the most important is the way in which the information is being presented. So if you have a very small spreadsheet and you just need to enter some values, you can have a very easy way of seeing the results. And I will show you just a basic. You can probably do matrix mathematics and all sorts of other calculations using this way of showing information. Probably vectors. Like I said, I'm not comfortable in using them, but it's certain that you have a lot of capabilities when you have such a pocket calculator. Right, you can see a lot of other examples. You can see over here the precision as listed by the manufacturer for various computations, input ranges and precision, yes. Displaying errors, which means that it's highly user-friendly, replacing a battery. So mostly you can see a lot of features that are highly important when you're using a pocket calculator. Of course, this is a given. I mean, the technological evolution in the last 20 or 40 years got us so accustomed to various features that I'm pretty sure one day we may not even have, I don't know, monochrome LCD displays, but everything will come closer to what a smartphone does. Of course, keeping probably the usability or simplicity of a pocket calculator. So I think that the evolution is going to be very interesting in this respect. So let me see, mode, stat, I think, oh, mode, table. Yes, I don't think I will yes, I think I will not show this one because I'm not entirely sure how to do it. Alright, you can have various functions you can use in a table. Yes, even if in the manual it seems pretty clear, to me it's a bit more difficult. So not entirely sure if I can show you this feature. Let me see. It's quite an important one, although I'm not entirely sure you'll be using it. Statistical function. Okay, perform the statistics operation. Yes, inputting data. Use the stat editor to input data. Perform the following key operation. Stats to data. Okay. Not entirely sure if no. Yes, although I'm pretty sure I have not made a good choice of showing you how you can do a spreadsheet calculation. I think I showed you quite well how the display works in this mode. I will not dwell more upon it, but suffice it to say that it's a very nice feature to have. Okay, so ultimately, wrapping up, I think that this Casio scientific pocket calculator is very nice. There are many models that are similar. However, I like very much Japanese calculators for a number of reasons. They can be easily found in Europe, and this matters a lot. They are not overly expensive, especially if we are not talking about the top-of-the-line models. They are very well built, even if in the case of this model and not only this model, they are not manufactured in Japan any longer or in Europe. They are manufactured in China. However, the quality standard has not been dropping so much. So I think that it still has a very nice build quality. A very good keyboard, highly comfortable because it's not a membrane keyboard. The top keys are plastic and they have a very good tactile feel. A very good display that of course can have its contrast changed. So if you are working in lighter or darker environments, you can have quite a good flexibility. It shows both mathematical expressions and the results in different ways that help you better understand what you have done up until then. It has a very nice history for your previous calculations. So ultimately, I think that it's a very powerful model that has a lot of advantage when compared with other similar situations. And I think that in this case there is very little that could be said when you're thinking about something that could be wrong. So ultimately, I think that this wall flexibility and also the price that is very low make for very good purchase and a very pleasant experience for many years to come. So whether you are buying it for yourself or you're buying it for someone else as a gift, I think that it holds a lot of promise and is a very good model that can be enjoyed for many years. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, it's not quite a good review compared with what some other persons may be doing. However, in terms of the experience, I hope I can convey it very easily to you and in a pleasant way that such a device is wonderful to use. And not only this particular model, but the whole lineup that has roughly the same features from Casio is very nice. All right, so I hope you will have a pleasant day. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, please subscribe if you like these videos. Thank you very much.